I dare you to disappear for 6 months, not from your job, not from your responsibilities, but from the noise, from the world that's constantly demanding your attention, pulling you in every direction, telling you who to be and how to live. I dare you to step away from the distractions, the expectations, and the pressure to conform. I dare you to disconnect and for once, listen to what's inside. But here's the catch, you can't just disappear physically. I'm asking you to disappear mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, to rediscover who you truly are without the filters, without the facades, to find the strength to stand in the quiet of your own truth and confront everything you've been running from. I dare you to disappear, not to escape your life, but to reclaim it. In a world that's constantly pushing us to do more, be more, and achieve more, we've lost something important. We've lost the ability to listen to ourselves, to be present in our own journey, and to trust the process of becoming. Too often, we're so wrapped up in external validation, the opinions of others, and the race to keep up, that we forget to ask ourselves, what do I truly want? What does success look like for me, not for anyone else? This speech isn't just about disappearing for 6 months. It's about confronting the very essence of who we are when we strip away the noise. It's about taking control of our narrative, trusting the process even when it's slow, and embracing failure as the ultimate teacher. This is about courage, the courage to step off the path that everyone else is following and to carve out your own journey. A journey that might be hard, that might test you in ways you never expected, but one that will lead you to something far greater than what the world tells you is success. So I dare you, no, I challenge you to disappear for 6 months. And in doing so, rediscover yourself, your purpose, and the powerful potential that lies within you. Will you accept the challenge? Because the journey you embark on today may very well redefine the rest of your life. They'll call it selfish, they'll call it ghosting. They'll say you fell off, went quiet, lost your edge, but that's because they don't understand what's happening. They don't understand what needs to happen. Isolation isn't weakness. It's a weapon. It's a forge. It's the sacred place where the real ones go to strip away what's unnecessary, to break what's broken, and to rebuild something unshakable. You don't transform in the spotlight, you transform in the shadows. The gym with no mirrors, the office with no windows, the early mornings, the late nights, when it's just your thoughts, your grind, and your God. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you were really alone, not scrawling, not answering texts, not soaking in the feedback of followers or trying to keep up with a feed designed to keep you insecure? I'm talking about real solitude, just you and your potential, just you and your voice. Silence like that, it's uncomfortable, it's confronting, but that's where the fire is. That's where clarity lives. Because when you strip away the distractions, you start to see yourself clearly. You start to hear the whispers of dreams you buried, the ambitions you stuffed down to make other people comfortable. That quiet space, that sacred ground, that's where transformation begins. Isolation breeds transformation because it demands confrontation. And most people are terrified of that. It's easier to stay busy than it is to face yourself, to examine the lies you believed about who you are, to look your wasted time in the face, to admit you've been coasting, pretending, compromising. But in isolation, there's no one to blame, no excuses to lean on. It's just you. And that's when the shift starts. That's when you decide not just to change, but to evolve. Because there's a difference. Change is surface level. Change is behavior. Evolution is identity. And identity doesn't shift in the crowd, it solidifies in the quiet. Think about every legend you respect, every icon, every titan of purpose. They all had a season of disappearing. Kobe in the gym at 4 a.m., Jordan after being cut, Jay-Z building from the block up, Serena locked in, perfecting every serve. These people didn't just appear on top, they vanished into the grind, into the work, into themselves. That's the part you don't see. That's the part no one wants to do. Everyone wants the results, the rings, the respect, but no one wants to disappear long enough to become unrecognizable. And that's what this is about. That's 6 months. It's not about hiding. It's about emerging transformed. You know what happens when you isolate with intention. You become dangerous, not to others, to every excuse you used to make. You kill off the version of you that settles, that negotiates with fear, that dilutes their potential for the comfort of being accepted. You start to build something unshakable. That kind of confidence, it can't be given. It has to be earned. And it's earned in the isolation chamber, day by day, decision by decision. Because every time you choose discipline over distraction, growth over gossip, purpose over popularity, you reinforce a new version of you. You feed a new beast. And when that beast is ready, you unleash it on the world. People will ask, where have you been? They'll say, you've changed. You damn right you had to, because the version of you that they remember wasn't built for where you're going. The old you couldn't carry the weight of your future, couldn't handle the pressure of your potential, couldn't rise under the responsibility of greatness. So you had to isolate, you had to go dark, you had to walk alone, not because you're antisocial, but because you're anti-small thinking, anti-wasted potential, anti-mediocrity. You had to cut yourself off from the noise so you could tune into the truth. Let me tell you something real. The crowd will cheer for the outcome, but they will never understand the process. They'll celebrate your glow up, but they'll never ask what it costs, the tears, the sacrifices, the days you wanted to quit but didn't. That's why isolation is necessary, not just for your grind, but for your perspective. It teaches you to stop needing applause. It teaches you to become your own validation. When you train alone, eat alone, build alone, cry alone, rise alone, your self-worth becomes untouchable. You stop being driven by opinion and start being led by purpose. You stop chasing trends and start building legacy. And let me be clear, isolation isn't about loneliness. There's a difference. Loneliness is emptiness. Isolation is intentionality. It's saying, I know what I need right now, and it's not out there. It's in here. It's not pulling away to punish yourself. It's pulling away to prepare yourself, to clean house internally, to reset mentally, to train spiritually, to map out a future that demands everything from you and then give it. That takes courage. That takes vision. That takes the kind of mindset most people talk about but don't live. So here's the dare or disappear. 6 months, shut it down. Go ghost. Fall off the map. Not irresponsibly, not to run from life, but to run into your future, to create a gap between who you are and who you're becoming, to give yourself the gift of focused evolution. Set the vision, build the habits, read the books, hit the workouts, cut the fat, physically, emotionally, mentally. Get obsessed, not with being perfect, with being better. Get addicted to progress. Go all in on the dream, on the discipline, on the version of you that's been locked up under all the noise, because when you remerge, and you will, the world won't recognize you. But that's the point. You didn't go quiet to stay the same. You went quiet to become something else, something more, something greater. You didn't disappear to be forgotten. You disappeared to be remembered for what came next. That's what transformation is. It's not about being liked. It's about becoming legendary and legends. They're born in the dark. Let's tell the truth right now. The reason most people don't win has nothing to do with talent. It has nothing to do with opportunity. It has nothing to do with what they can't do. It has everything to do with the fact that they're too distracted to do what they were born to do. This world is a battlefield of attention, and most people have already surrendered. They've handed over their focus, their energy, their drive for a scroll, for a like, for a notification, for someone else's opinion. We're living in a time where distraction is dressed up like connection, but underneath, it's destruction. You've got to understand something. Distraction doesn't always look dangerous. It looks fun, it looks innocent, but it's stealing your time. And time, that's the most expensive thing you've got. Time is the one thing you never get back. Distraction is the silent killer of destiny. It doesn't destroy you in one blow. It chips away at you slowly. A little Netflix here, a little gossip there, a few hours scrolling, a few more debating people who don't even know your name, all while your goals sit there untouched, your gift neglected, your potential starving. And here's the thing, it's not just about the phone, it's about the lifestyle. Distraction is a mindset, a pattern, a comfort zone. It's any behavior that keeps you from becoming the version of yourself that terrifies mediocrity, the version that would wake up at 5 a.m. instead of snoozing, the version that would hit the gym instead of hitting excuses, the version that would read, study, train, write, build. But distraction says, relax, you're doing enough. Distraction says, you've got time. Distraction says, take it easy. But purpose says, get up, you've got work to do. I dare you to log out for 6 months. Turn off the noise. Cancel the subscriptions. Mute the influencers. Go dark on the drama. Stop chasing everyone else's highlight reel and start chasing your own reality. If you could take all the hours you've given to distractions and reinvest them into your dream, you wouldn't even recognize your life in a year. But here's the trap. Distraction feels good. It gives you dopamine. It gives you the illusion of productivity, the illusion of socializing, the illusion of progress. But when the lights go off, when you're alone with your thoughts, there's no illusion that can cover regret. Some of you have million-dollar ideas, but you keep feeding them 10-cent focus. Some of you are sitting on callings that could change your bloodline, your future, your legacy, but you can't focus long enough to hear what God is trying to tell you. You've got to disconnect to reconnect with yourself, with your purpose, with what actually matters, because distraction doesn't just steal time. It dulls your instincts. It clouds your judgment. It numbs your spirit. The more distracted you are, the further you drift from who you really are. And don't get it twisted, some distractions wear faces. Some distractions have names. People can be distractions too. Not everyone around you wants to see you elevate. Some people benefit from your dysfunction. Some people love the version of you that plays small, laughs everything off, never talks about purpose, never puts pressure on the room. The moment you start acting like your life actually matters, watch how fast they get uncomfortable. Watch how quick they try to pull you back into distraction. They'll say you're obsessed. They'll say you're too serious. But obsession is what greatness requires. Focus is what transformation demands. You don't owe anybody an explanation for taking your dream seriously. I dare you to build a schedule so tight that distraction can't breathe. Wake up earlier than your excuses. Set boundaries so firm that they offend people who used to waste your time. Turn off your phone for hours at a time. Block out entire days just to think, just to strategize, just to sharpen. When's the last time you were unreachable? If everybody has access to you all the time, then no one is really getting the best of you, not even you. You need space to grow. You need silence to build. And you won't get either if you stay available to every ping, every text, every pointless interaction. When you start eliminating distractions, you start becoming dangerous. You walk with a different energy. You start completing things instead of just starting them. You start showing up early. You start moving with precision. You start valuing your time like it's your most prized possession, because it is. You don't let everyone in your energy. You stop entertaining the clowns. You stop explaining your boundaries, because now you've seen what happens when you protect your focus. You felt the power of going a day, a week, a month without being pulled in 1,000 directions. And once you get a taste of that, you'll never want to go back. Let me tell you something. Your focus is your freedom. The more focused you become, the more control you take over your life. And the less focused you are, the more control the world is over you. You become a slave to distraction. You start living someone else's agenda. You wake up reacting instead of creating. But when you decide, really decide, that you're done being pulled in every direction, that you're done giving your time to things that don't grow you, that's when life shifts. That's when you shift. That's when you take back the pen and start writing a new chapter, one where your energy goes where it matters. The hardest part is the detox. The first few weeks will feel strange. You'll feel the itch, the habit. You'll reach for your phone without thinking. You'll crave the validation, but push through that, push through the withdrawal, because on the other side of that silence is power, clarity, purpose. You'll start to hear your own voice again. You'll start to dream again. You'll see the path you're supposed to walk. And when you do, you'll wonder why you ever gave so much of yourself to things that gave you nothing in return. And here's the truth: distraction is the enemy of destiny. Every moment you spend distracted is a moment you'll never get back. You're not just scrolling, you're surrendering. You're not just chilling, you're chaining yourself to a future you didn't choose. But you can break that cycle right now. With one decision, you can decide to disappear, not to run, but to reclaim your mind, reclaim the focus that will turn your goals into reality. So disappear for 6 months, not from life, from everything that's been stealing your life away from you. From the apps, from the noise, from the crowd, from the expectations. Get low, get focused, get free. And when you come back built, come back unrecognizable. Come back so locked in, so leveled up, so transformed that distraction can't even find you. Mastering your craft in the dark means becoming excellent in silence. It means building when no one is watching, sharpening when no one is clapping, training without trophies. It's putting in the reps when no one's giving you credit. It's not glamorous. It's not for show. It's for your soul. That kind of commitment, that kind of invisible grind, that's where the greats are made. That's where you either fold under pressure or rise with purpose. In a world obsessed with being seen, there's nothing more powerful than knowing how to work in the shadows. Let's be real. Everyone wants the glory, the recognition, the fame, but few are willing to put in the work that makes that glory possible. And I'm not just talking about the type of work that shows up on Instagram or the kind that gets you likes and comments. I'm talking about the late nights, the early mornings, the behind-the-scenes grind that never gets celebrated, the process that no one wants to see because it doesn't fit into a 30-second clip. That's where mastery lies. Most people don't understand that the real magic happens in the dark, in those quiet moments when nobody's looking, when the world is asleep and you're the only one still hustling. That's where the breakthrough happens. People want to be great, but they want the fame that comes with it without doing the work that makes them worthy of it, the work that happens when the cameras are off, the work that happens when you're alone in the gym, in the studio, at your desk, just focused on improving your craft, not seeking validation. The world doesn't reward effort, it rewards results. And results are built through repeated effort day in and day out in the solitude of practice. You have to become obsessed with the unseen hours, with the reps that don't make the highlight reel, with the work that won't go viral. That's the difference between a dabbler and a dominator. A dabbler posts about it. A dominator lives it. A dabbler does it when it's convenient. A dominator does it when it's painful, when it's cold, when the body is tired and the mind is screaming, quit. Because dominators know the truth. The world doesn't reward announcements, it rewards execution. If you want to be great, it's not enough to talk about it. You've got to walk it every single day. The craft doesn't lie. You either put in the work or you didn't. You either blot in silence or you'll bleed on stage. And most people, they're trying to cheat the process, trying to skip the struggle, trying to microwave mastery. But mastery isn't Amazon Prime. It's hand delivered day by day through sweat, setback, solitude, and study. It's built in notebooks full of plans, journals full of pain, calendars full of early mornings and late nights. You want to be elite. Cool. Show me your calendar. Show me the sacrifices you've made. Show me the things you've had to let go of to become great. It's not about the hours you spend working. It's about the hours you spend when no one's watching. When you train in the dark, you don't need applause. You don't need validation. Because every day you're proving to yourself that you're real, that you're locked in, that you're not faking this. And when you do that long enough, the results become undeniable. You stop having to tell people who you are. They'll see it. They'll feel it. Your name starts circulating in rooms you've never entered because your work speaks for you louder than your mouth ever could. But to get there, you have to endure seasons of struggle, rejection, and silence. It's easy to talk about dreams when you're inspired, easy to post a quote when you're motivated. But what about when it's 5 a.m. and you're sore, tired, and nobody's clapping? That's when mastery is tested. Can you still show up? Can you still build? Can you still go to war with mediocrity when nobody's cheering you on? That's when greatness is forged. That's where you separate yourself from the crowd. It's not the glamorous moments that define you. It's the quiet moments when you show up for yourself, even when no one else will. The reason you master your craft in the dark is because that's where you build trust in yourself. The world is noisy. People have opinions. The internet is loud, but in the dark, it's just you. It's you in the work. It's you in the discomfort. It's you in the decision, do I rise or do I retreat? And when you rise enough times in the dark, you become untouchable in the light. No stage can shake you. No critic can rattle you because you earned it, because you know who you are. And that knowing, that's what gives you unshakable confidence. Let the others chase the spotlight. You chase the standard. Let the others post the work. You do the work. Let them take breaks. You take notes. Because when it's time to perform, they'll be rusty and you'll be ready. That's the payoff. You train in the dark so that when your name is called, you don't flinch, you don't freeze, you don't fumble, you deliver every time. And it won't be luck, it'll be legacy. Because you weren't just practicing, you were preparing. There's a difference. Practicing is when you're just going through the motions. Preparation is when you're investing everything to be the best when it matters most. Most people only want to do the work when the camera's on, but cameras don't make champions, habits do. And habits are formed in the dark, formed when no one's around, when no one's watching, when no one's cheering. You want to change your life, change what you do when no one's watching. That's where the transformation lies, in the discipline, in the diligence, in the decision to show up day after day, rain or shine, whether you feel like it or not. Mastery is boring, it's repetitive, it's exhausting. When you disappear for 6 months and lock into the process, people will say you got lucky. They won't see the nights you skipped sleep, the mornings you trained before sunrise, the books, the sweat, the sacrifice. They'll just see the results. Let them guess, let them talk. You don't owe anyone the explanation for what you built in the dark. You owe yourself the satisfaction of seeing it through, of walking into the life you designed, not because it was easy, but because you refused to quit. So here's your assignment: disappear and build. Study your craft, sharpen your tools, break the mold, create systems, write the pages, run the laps, study the film, invest in skills, read like your life depends on it. Train like your future's on the line, because it is. Do it in silence, do it with discipline, do it without needing a round of applause, because one day soon they'll see. And when they do, you won't even need to say a word. The work will speak for you. In a world that's constantly buzzing with noise, from social media notifications to the endless stream of opinions, from the music playing in the background to the constant chatter in our heads, it's easy to forget the power of silence. Silence isn't just the absence of sound, it's the presence of peace. It's the space where your best ideas are born. Silence isn't just an empty moment, it's the arena where you can hear the deepest parts of yourself. Yet, so many people run from it. They fill their lives with noise, afraid to face what's waiting in the quiet. Here's the truth. Nothing great ever happened in the chaos. All of the greatest ideas, the breakthroughs, the moments of transformation happen when we can sit in silence, when we stop chasing distractions and sit with our thoughts. That's when we tap into something powerful, something real. Most people are so afraid of silence because it forces them to confront themselves. In the silence, you can't hide from the hard truths. You can't drown out the feeling of discontent with another Netflix episode or a scroll through your phone. Silence has a way of amplifying everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But it's also in silence that we find clarity. When we allow ourselves to sit with our thoughts, we begin to hear our intuition, our inner voice. That voice, if we listen closely enough, knows exactly what we need to do. But it's drowned out by the noise of the world if we're not careful. Distraction is a poison to your growth. And silence is the antidote. It's in the quiet that we can truly hear our own heartbeat, our own desires, our own needs. Most people spend their lives running away from silence because they're scared to face their fears, their insecurities, and the discomfort of self-reflection. But it's the very discomfort that we need to grow. It's in the moments of stillness that we come face to face with our truth. And it's only by confronting our truth that we can move forward and start to make real progress in our lives. If you can't stand the silence, you're running from something. You're running from the possibility of knowing yourself. You're running from the responsibility of making hard choices. You're running from the need to change. The truth is that silence will never betray you. It's only in silence that you can hear what's really inside of you. But if you're constantly filling up your life with noise, you'll never hear the call to your next level. And without that call, you'll keep spinning in circles, staying stuck in the same place. Now think about it. When's the last time you really sat in silence and just thought, not scrolling, not listening to a podcast, not having a conversation with someone else, just sitting in silence, reflecting? I know it's hard for most people to even picture because we're so used to being bombarded with noise, but this is one of the most powerful things you can do. In silence, you begin to cultivate the kind of awareness that leads to clarity. You begin to realize what you truly want, what you're afraid of, and what you need to do to get where you want to be. The real transformation doesn't come from constantly being in action. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is stop, breathe, and listen to the silence. In that silence, you get to know yourself. You get to hear the truth about where you've been, where you are, and where you're going. If you don't create that space, you're always going to be running on autopilot, reacting to everything around you instead of responding to the voice within you. The voice that's been drowned out by everything else. The voice that will guide you to your highest potential if you're willing to listen. The truth is, silence is where creativity and strategy are born. Think about the moments when you're just sitting by yourself. Maybe you're in the shower or you're on a walk, and suddenly an idea hits you. It's like the floodgates open and everything falls into place. That's what happens when you allow silence into your life. You give your brain space to process and make connections it couldn't make when it was overloaded with noise. You make room for inspiration to flow, but silence also teaches you something even more important: patience. In the silence, you learn to trust the process. You learn that everything doesn't need to be rushed. In a world that thrives on instant gratification, it's easy to think that everything should happen now. But silence teaches us that growth takes time, that the best things are nurtured and cultivated in quiet spaces, away from the hustle and bustle of the world. It teaches us to trust that the work we're doing in silence, in private, will eventually pay off. You just have to be willing to put in the time and trust that the process is unfolding exactly as it should. Now, I want to challenge you. Can you be comfortable with silence for 6 months? Can you disappear from the noise? Can you step away from the chaos and just be? This isn't about isolating yourself from the world. It's about stepping away from the distractions that pull you away from your higher purpose. It's about embracing the peace that comes when you can sit with yourself, your thoughts, and your intentions, free from the outside noise. There's a saying that goes, if you're quiet enough, you'll hear the whispers of your soul. That's what silence does. It allows you to hear what's inside of you, the voice of your soul, your deeper desires, your truest ambitions. When you're constantly drowning out your own voice with the noise of the world, you miss out on this. But when you sit in silence, you begin to hear the whispers. And those whispers will lead you to places you never imagined. Don't be afraid of silence. Don't be afraid of the stillness. It's in those moments of quiet that you'll hear your own voice. And it's in listening to that voice that you'll find the strength to move forward with purpose. The world will keep talking. The noise will never stop, but you have the power to create silence within yourself. And when you do, you'll find the clarity, the peace, and the strength to make your next move with certainty. So I dare you to disappear for 6 months, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Disappear into the silence. Get away from the distractions. Step away from the noise. And in that silence, find your power, find your clarity, and come back when you're ready to show the world what happens when you embrace the quiet and use it to master your destiny. Reinvention is one of the most powerful tools you can have in your arsenal. It's the ability to shed the old layers, the old identity, the old ways of thinking and being, and emerge as someone new, someone stronger, smarter, more aligned with your true purpose. But here's the catch: reinvention isn't for the faint of heart. It requires courage. It requires you to let go of who you once were in order to become the person you are meant to be. And perhaps the most important part of reinvention, it's doing it unapologetically. So many people get stuck in who they've been. They feel bound by their past, by the labels others have put on them, by the expectations that have been set. And the idea of reinventing themselves feels foreign, risky, and even scary. What will people think? Will they approve? What will they say when I show up differently, thinking differently, acting differently? These questions hold so many people back from embracing their own transformation. But the truth is, if you don't reinvent yourself, life will force you to do it. The world around you is constantly changing, constantly evolving, and if you don't evolve with it, you'll get left behind. But there's a difference between changing because you're forced to and reinventing yourself because you choose to. Reinvention is an act of power. It's you deciding that you are no longer bound by your past or by other people's opinions. You are no longer defined by your mistakes, your failures, or the labels others have placed on you. You are who you choose to be, not who the world tells you to be. And when you decide to reinvent yourself, you have to do it unapologetically. There can be no hesitation, no second guessing, no explaining. The moment you apologize for who you are becoming is the moment you start to shrink back. The world needs you to show up as the best version of yourself unapologetically, not the version that is easy, comfortable, or acceptable to others. The version that is real, that is authentic, that is powerful. That's the person who will make the biggest impact on the world. Think about the people you admire, the ones who are making a true difference, the ones who seem unstoppable. What do they all have in common? They didn't ask for permission to be great. They didn't wait for validation. They didn't shrink themselves to fit in. They decided who they were going to be, and they became that person. No apologies. It's easy to look at someone's success from the outside and think that they had it easier or that they didn't face the same struggles you're facing. But the truth is, they too faced doubt, criticism, and fear. They too had to confront the uncomfortable feeling of becoming someone new, but they didn't let that stop them. They didn't shrink. They didn't apologize for their growth. They embraced it. And so should you. You see, reinvention isn't about changing for the sake of change. It's about aligning yourself with your highest potential. It's about stepping into the next version of who you're meant to be. And that's a process that takes time. It requires patience, self-awareness, and most importantly, the willingness to embrace discomfort. When you begin to reinvent yourself, you'll feel the pull of the old version of you trying to drag you back. You'll hear the voices, both from the outside and from within, telling you that you're not ready, that you should just stay where it's safe, that you don't have to change. But here's the thing, staying in the same place, staying in the same mindset is not growth, it's stagnation, and stagnation leads to frustration. To reinvent yourself is to break free from the chains of your comfort zone. It's to step into the unknown and trust that you have everything you need to make it through. It's about going beyond the limitations you've placed on yourself and becoming the person who can handle whatever life throws at you. And when you do that, when you step into that next level, you will find that the world begins to respond to you differently. People will begin to see you as someone different, someone powerful, someone who has taken control of their own destiny. But let me tell you, this reinvention will come with its challenges. People will resist it. Some will not understand. Some will try to pull you back into your old self. And that's when you have to remember you are not here to please everyone. You are not here to fit into the mold that others have created for you. You are here to create your own mold, to carve out your own path. And that means you will face resistance. You will face doubt. You will face criticism. But that's part of the process. That's part of becoming who you're meant to be. Reinvention is messy. It's not a straight line. It's not a smooth journey. There will be moments when you feel like you've lost your way, when you question whether you're on the right path. But in those moments, you have to remind yourself growth isn't always comfortable. Reinvention isn't always pretty, but it is always worth it. When you step into the person you were meant to become, you'll look back at the struggles, the pain, the uncertainty, and realize that it was all necessary. It was all part of the process. And here's the most important part: your reinvention isn't just for you. It's for the people who will benefit from your new energy, your new mindset, your new purpose. The world needs you to reinvent yourself. The world needs your gifts, your talents, your unique perspective. But in order to bring that into the world, you have to first give yourself permission to change. You have to decide that you're worthy of that change, that you're worthy of that transformation, and you have to do it without apology. Because the moment you apologize for your growth, the moment you second guess your potential, is the moment you start to hold yourself back. So here's the challenge: reinvent yourself without apology. Shed the old layers, step into the new version yourself, and embrace the discomfort that comes with it. Don't shrink, don't apologize, don't wait for permission, just do it. The world will adjust, and when it does, you'll be stronger, more confident, and more aligned with your true purpose than ever before. In a world where likes, shares, retweets, and comments have become measures of success, it's easy to get caught up in the need for external validation. We live in a culture that thrives on feedback from others, where our worth often feels tied to the approval of the people around us, whether they be friends, colleagues, or even strangers online. But here's the hard truth: the need for validation is one of the most limiting forces you will ever face. It holds you back from stepping in your full potential. It keeps you seeking approval when you should be seeking progress. If you want to truly thrive, you need to learn to let go of the need for validation. When you base your worth on the opinions of others, you put your life in the hands of someone else's judgment. You make your happiness dependent on external factors that you can't control. And when the feedback isn't positive, when people don't approve of what you're doing, you feel lost, you feel disheartened, your confidence takes a hit, and you start questioning yourself, your worth, your value. But the truth is, other people's opinions about you are none of your business. They don't define you. Their validation doesn't determine your success. If you keep waiting for permission from the outside world to be great, you'll spend your life living on someone else's terms. It's time to break free from that trap. Letting go of the need for validation isn't about rejecting feedback altogether. It's about shifting your mindset. It's about realizing that the most important opinion you'll ever need to care about is your own. The feedback that matters most is the one that comes from within you. You have to start measuring your own success, your own progress, your own growth. Your internal validation needs to be stronger than any external praise or criticism. When you can say to yourself, I know I'm doing the right thing and I'm proud of my efforts, you no longer need anyone else to tell you that you're on the right track. You become your own source of validation. You become the person who cheers for you the loudest. There's a powerful freedom that comes from releasing the need for validation. It allows you to be who you truly are without worrying about how others perceive you. It allows you to step into your purpose without second-guessing yourself. It gives you the confidence to follow your own path, even when others don't understand it. Think about the great innovators, the trailblazers, the ones who changed the world. None of them waited for approval. None of them sought validation from the masses. They followed their own instincts, their own vision, their own purpose, even when it didn't make sense to anyone else. They knew that true fulfillment comes from within. When you stop seeking validation from the outside, you give yourself the freedom to live on your own terms. But letting go of the need for validation isn't always easy. We're conditioned from a young age to seek approval from others. As children, we seek our parents' approval. As teenagers, we seek the approval of our peers. As adults, we seek approval from colleagues, friends, even strangers on social media. It's a natural instinct to want to fit in, to feel accepted. But the problem arises when we start to base our entire self-worth on the approval of others. It becomes a never-ending cycle, always chasing the next like, the next compliment, the next piece of validation, never truly feeling fulfilled. The truth is that the external validation we crave is often fleeting. You might get 1,000 likes on a post today, but how long does that last? How long does that sense of approval actually satisfy you? The reality is that it's temporary, it's hollow. And the more you rely on it, the more dependent you become on external sources for your sense of worth. But when you learn to validate yourself, you no longer depend on outside sources for happiness or success. You become self-sufficient. You become the source of your own power. You become unshakable. Letting go of the need for validation also means taking responsibility for your own success. It means understanding that your journey is yours alone. The opinions of others don't matter when you're on the path that feels right to you. People will always have something to say. Some will encourage you, some will doubt you, and some will criticize you. But none of that changes your purpose unless you allow it to. You have to take ownership of your decisions. You have to trust yourself and your vision. If you keep looking to others for reassurance, you'll never move forward. You'll always be waiting for the green light from someone else. One of the most liberating experiences in life is realizing that you are enough just as you are. You don't need to be constantly validated by the world. You don't need to be constantly seeking approval. You don't need to tailor yourself to fit someone else's idea of who you should be. You need to step into the truth of who you are and let the world see it. And if they don't approve, that's okay, because the only person whose opinion truly matters is yours. Imagine how much you could accomplish if you stopped worrying about what others think. Imagine how many opportunities you would take if you stopped second-guessing yourself. Imagine the freedom you would feel if you could act on your ideas without the fear of judgment. That's the power of letting go of the need for validation. It's not just about ignoring what others think. It's about taking back control over your life and your decisions. When you stop seeking approval, you free yourself to do the things that matter most to you. You stop living to meet someone else's expectations and start living to meet your own. The world is full of noise, opinions, judgments, expectations, but none of that matters unless you let it. The only thing that truly matters is your internal compass. When you learn to validate yourself, when you learn to trust your own decisions and actions, you become unstoppable. The validation you were once searching for will come from within, and that's when you'll know that you're on the right path. So here's the challenge. Let go of the need for validation. Stop seeking approval. Start trusting yourself. When you learn to do that, you'll free yourself from the limitations that others' opinions place on you. You'll find yourself living a life that is truly yours, a life that's not dependent on external praise or criticism, but on your own truth, and that's when real power begins. Fear of the unknown is something that almost everyone experiences at some point in their lives. It's that feeling of uncertainty, that nervousness about what lies ahead, that hesitation when you stand at the edge of something new. The unknown can feel overwhelming, even paralyzing, because we're conditioned to seek comfort, stability, and predictability. We tend to fear what we don't understand or what we can't control. But here's the truth. The unknown is where the magic happens. It's where growth occurs. It's where the opportunities you've been waiting for are hiding. The key is learning to embrace that fear rather than letting it control you. Think about it. Every great achievement, every breakthrough, every moment of real transformation in history has come from stepping into the unknown. If you look at the lives of successful people, they didn't get to where they are by playing it safe. They embraced the uncertainty. They took risks. They faced their fear and pushed forward anyway. The fear of the unknown is not something to avoid, it's something to move through. It's a signal that you're on the verge of something new, something significant, something that could change your life. But it requires courage to take that first step into uncharted territory. Fear often gets a bad rap. We view it as something that holds us back, something that keeps us stuck. But fear is simply an emotional response to the unknown. It's our brain's way of trying to protect us from what it perceives as danger. The problem is that the brain doesn't always know the difference between real danger and perceived danger. The unknown doesn't always mean something dangerous is ahead. It simply means something different is ahead. And just because it's different doesn't mean it's bad. In fact, the unknown is where you'll find some of the best experiences, the greatest growth, and the most rewarding challenges of your life. What if you allowed yourself to be curious about the unknown instead of fearful of it? What if you approached every new challenge, every new opportunity, every unfamiliar path with excitement instead of anxiety? The unknown is a place where possibilities exist, possibilities that you may never even have imagined until you step outside your comfort zone. It's like standing in front of a blank canvas, ready to create. The fear you feel is just part of the process. It's a sign that you're on the verge of something incredible. Think about the first time you did anything new, your first job, your first public speaking engagement, the first time you took a leap of faith in yourself. At first, the fear was overwhelming. You questioned your ability, your readiness, and whether you could handle the challenge. But once you took that first step, once you made it through the fear, you realized that the unknown wasn't so scary after all. It was uncomfortable, yes. It was uncertain, yes. But it was also thrilling. It pushed you, it challenged you, and in the end, it helped you grow. This is the power of embracing the fear of the unknown. It's not about eliminating the fear. That's impossible. Fear is a natural response, but it's about learning how to move through it, how to acknowledge it without letting it dictate your decisions. The more you step into the unknown, the more you get used to the discomfort, the more you begin to understand that the fear is not something to avoid, but something to move through. It's the gateway to your next level. Every time you embrace it, you gain confidence, you gain wisdom, you gain experience that you can draw on the next time you encounter something unknown. And eventually you begin to realize that the unknown is not as scary as it once seemed. When you face the unknown, you also open yourself up to new perspectives. The familiar can become limiting. You get used to your routine, your environment, the people you know, and the path you've been walking. It's comfortable. But comfort doesn't lead to growth. It leads to stagnation. To truly expand your horizons, you have to step into new environments, try new things, meet new people, and experience life from a different angle. The unknown is where new experiences and opportunities live. It's where the world can surprise you, challenge you, and push you to become more than you ever thought possible. The fear of the unknown also teaches you resilience. When you face something that's unfamiliar, something that pushes you to your limits, you learn to adapt. You learn how to manage uncertainty. You learn how to pivot when things don't go according to plan. And that ability to navigate the unknown is one of the most valuable skills you can develop. Life is unpredictable. It's full of twists and turns. The unknown is always present. And the more you learn to embrace it, the better equipped you become to handle whatever life throws your way. The most successful people in history weren't the ones who avoided fear. They were the ones who embraced it. They were the ones who stepped into the unknown with open arms, even when the path wasn't clear. They saw the unknown as an opportunity, not a threat. They didn't wait for the fear to go away. They acted in spite of it. They knew that the reward on the other side was worth the discomfort and uncertainty they had to face. And that's what you have to do too. You have to act in spite of the fear. You have to take the leap, not knowing exactly what's going to happen, but trusting that you'll figure it out along the way. Because that's how growth happens. That's how change happens. So here's the challenge. Stop waiting for the unknown to become known. Stop waiting for the perfect time, the perfect plan, the perfect conditions. They don't exist. The unknown is a part of life. And the more you embrace it, the more you realize that it's not so scary after all. In fact, it's where all the good stuff is hiding. The unknown holds the possibilities, the opportunities, and the experiences that will shape you to the person you are meant to be. The only way to unlock those possibilities is to walk through the fear and take that step into the unknown. In a world where instant gratification has become the norm, patience is an increasingly rare quality. We want things now. We want results fast, and we expect success to come quickly. This mindset, while understandable in our fast-paced world, is a trap. The truth is, real growth, whether personal, professional, or otherwise, is rarely instant. It's a process, a long, sometimes grueling, and often slow process. And yet, if you want to achieve something truly meaningful, you must trust the process. Even when it feels slow, even when it feels like you're making no progress at all, the key to success isn't about having the fastest route or the quickest shortcut. It's about consistency, resilience, and faith in the journey, even when you can't see immediate results. Trusting the process means committing to the long game. It's understanding that the work you're doing today may not pay off tomorrow or even next week, but that doesn't mean it isn't valuable. In fact, often the things that matter most take time to manifest. Whether it's building a career, developing a new skill, or transforming your mindset, the progress is often invisible at first. It's easy to get discouraged when you don't see immediate results. But the reality is that the real work, the deep work, happens when no one is watching. It happens in the quiet moments, in the hours you put in when there's no applause, no recognition, no external validation. It's those moments that build the foundation for everything you'll eventually achieve. The problem is we live in a culture of comparison. Social media bombards us with images of success, wealth, and happiness, often highlighting the fastest, most glamorous results. It's easy to look at someone else's success and think, why am I not there yet? You see someone who has achieved something incredible, and you wonder why your journey seems so much slower, so much less exciting. But what you don't see is the process behind their success. You don't see the years of hard work, the failures, the setbacks, the doubts. You don't see the moments when they too felt like giving up. The slow process of growth isn't glamorous. It isn't flashy, but it is real, and it's the only way to build something sustainable. Trusting the process means letting go of the need for immediate results and embracing the idea that every small step is a part of a larger journey. It means understanding that growth is cumulative. Every day that you show up and put in the work, you are adding to your success, even if you can't see it yet. It's like planting seeds in a garden. You don't plant a seed and expect a fully grown tree to appear overnight. You water it, you tend to it, and over time, with patience and care, it grows. But that growth isn't instantaneous. It's gradual. It's consistent. And it's deeply rewarding when it finally blooms. The slow process is also where the real lessons lie. It's easy to get caught up in the idea of success and forget that it's not just the end result that matters, it's who you become along the way. Every moment of struggle, every setback, every challenge you face is an opportunity to learn and grow. Trusting the process means trusting that these experiences are shaping you even when you don't see immediate results. They are teaching you resilience, patience, and perseverance. They are building your character. And these are the qualities that will sustain you when you do finally achieve your goals. Because when the results come, they won't be fleeting. They'll be solid, rooted in the work you put in over time. They'll be earned, not given. One of the hardest aspects of trusting the process is dealing with self-doubt. It's easy to look around and think that everyone else has it figured out, that everyone else is further along than you. You begin to wonder if you're doing something wrong, if you're wasting your time. But here's the thing, everyone has their own timeline. Some people's journeys are faster and others take longer. It's important to resist the urge to compare yourself to others. Your path is unique, and it's not meant to look like anyone else's. It's also important to remember that the people who seem to have it all together today likely face their own struggles, their own doubts, and their own slow processes. You just didn't see it. So when the journey feels long and slow, remind yourself that this is part of your unique process. It's shaping you, it's making you stronger, and it's leading you to something greater than you can see right now. Trusting the process also means being okay with failure. Failures are often the biggest part of the process. They're a sign that you're trying, that you're pushing boundaries, that you're willing to risk something in order to grow. Every failure is a lesson. Every misstep is an opportunity to adjust and improve. It's easy to get discouraged when things don't go as planned, but the people who succeed are the ones who see failure as just another part of the journey. They don't give up because of it. They use it to fuel their next step. And this is where true growth comes from the willingness to fail and get back up again. In the age of instant everything, it's hard to trust that good things take time. But the things that are truly worth having, real success, real happiness, real fulfillment, don't come overnight. They come through the process. They come through persistence. They come through trust. You won't always see the fruits of your labor right away, but that doesn't mean your efforts are in vain. They are building something much bigger than you can see right now. The slow process is what gives your success depth. It's what makes it meaningful. So when things feel like they're moving too slowly, when you feel like you're stuck, remember you are in the process. And the process is exactly what you need to build something great. Here's the challenge: keep showing up, even when the results don't come fast. Keep putting in the work, even when it feels like you're making no progress. Trust that every day you invest in yourself, in your growth, and in your journey is taking you one step closer to where you want to be. Stay patient, stay committed, and trust that the process, no matter how slow, is always leading you to something extraordinary. Failure is something that everyone fears, yet it's something that every single person will face at some point in their journey. It's an inevitable part of life, but the way we perceive and respond to failure often determines how far we can go. Many people fear failure so much that it holds them back from taking risks, from chasing their dreams, from stepping out of their comfort zones. But here's the truth. Failure isn't something to fear, it's something to embrace. Failure is not the end, it's a stepping stone, a valuable lesson, and an opportunity for growth. The fear of failure only becomes a barrier when you let it dictate your actions, when you allow it to keep you from trying, from pushing forward, and from taking chances that could lead you to success. Failure, in many ways, is the greatest teacher you will ever have. It shows you what doesn't work, what needs to be improved, and what adjustments you need to make. It reveals your weaknesses and your strengths. It builds resilience. Think about the greatest achievers, innovators, and pioneers in history. They didn't get to where they are by avoiding failure. They failed over and over again, but each time they got back up, learned from their mistakes, and kept going. Without failure, there is no growth. Without failure, there is no real achievement. It's only through facing and overcoming failure that we grow stronger, wiser, and more capable. When you view failure as a lesson rather than a setback, it loses its power over you. You stop fearing it, and instead, you start learning from it. Each time you fail, you gain valuable insights that you wouldn't have otherwise. You learn what works and what doesn't. You refine your skills. You get closer to your goal with every attempt, even if it doesn't feel like it at first. The process of failing and learning is what leads to mastery. The people who are truly successful aren't the ones who never failed. They are the ones who failed the most and kept going. They didn't let failure define them. They let it refine them. One of the biggest mistakes people make is equating failure with inadequacy or defeat. But failure doesn't define your worth. It doesn't mean you're not good enough or that you're incapable of succeeding. It simply means that what you tried didn't work this time, and that's okay. You're not the failure, the action or decision is. When you can separate yourself from the failure, you free yourself from the fear of it. You stop seeing it as something to avoid at all costs and start seeing it as part of the process. A necessary ingredient on the road to success. It's through failure that you discover what you're made of. It's through failure that you build the grit and perseverance that will ultimately carry you to victory. The fear of failure often comes from a fear of judgment or rejection. We fear how others will perceive us if we fail. We worry about what people will think if our endeavors don't pan out the way we hoped. But here's the thing: the opinions of others don't define you. The judgments of those around you don't determine your worth. The fear of judgment can paralyze you, keeping you stuck in place, afraid to take any risks, afraid to put yourself out there. But the truth is, the people who matter most won't judge you for failing. They'll respect your courage to try. They'll admire your resilience to keep going even when things don't go as planned. Those who are truly successful understand that failure is a natural part of the journey. They know that to take risks is to open the door to both success and failure, and both are valuable. Another reason people fear failure is because they fear the consequences. They fear losing money, time, or opportunities. But often, the fear of failure is far worse than the actual failure itself. When you step back and look at the worst-case scenario, you may realize that it's not as catastrophic as you thought. In fact, failure often presents opportunities that you wouldn't have encountered otherwise. It teaches you lessons that will prepare you for your next step, better equipping you for success. Most successful people will tell you that their biggest breakthroughs came after a failure, after a moment of vulnerability, after a time when everything seemed to fall apart. If they had let the fear of failure stop them, they would never have found those breakthroughs. Failure also creates clarity. It forces you to evaluate your approach, to reassess your strategy, and to identify what needs to change. When things are going well, it's easy to stay on autopilot and not question your methods. But when you fail, you are forced to confront the truth. You are forced to look at what went wrong and what can be done differently. This clarity can be the key to unlocking your next level of success. Often, what feels like the end of the road is really just a detour leading you to a better, more informed path. Releasing the fear of failure means understanding that your dreams and goals are worth the risk. It means being willing to fail in order to succeed. It means embracing the journey with all its ups and downs, knowing that each failure is simply a lesson in disguise. The fear of failure is natural, but it's also limiting. It keeps you stuck, stagnant, and hesitant. But when you embrace failure, you embrace growth. You stop being afraid to try new things, to push boundaries, and to take risks. You stop seeing failure as the end of the road and start seeing it as a stepping stone to success. So here's a challenge: stop fearing failure. Stop allowing it to hold you back from your dreams. Fail often. Fail forward. Use every failure as a stepping stone to greater success. When you do, you'll find that failure doesn't have to be something to avoid. It can be the very thing that propels you toward your greatest achievements. One of the most powerful things you can do in your life is to own your story, every single part of it. The ups, the downs, the mistakes, the triumphs, and everything in between. It's easy to feel ashamed of the chapters of our lives that we wish we could rewrite, but those chapters are just as important as the ones we're proud of. In fact, they may even be the most significant parts of our journey. When we try to hide Dini or run from the parts of our story that we don't like, we lose the opportunity to learn from them, to grow through them, and to embrace the full richness of our experiences. Owning your story means accepting everything that has happened to you, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and recognizing that it has all contributed to the person you are today. You can't erase your past, and you shouldn't want to. Every experience, every challenge, every failure has shaped you into who you are now. Those moments that you might want to forget are often the very things that give you wisdom, strength, and perspective. They are what allow you to empathize with others, to understand the complexities of life, and to approach new challenges with resilience and grace. Too many people spend their lives running from their pasts. They feel ashamed of the mistakes they've made, the people they've hurt, or the things they didn't do right. And while it's natural to feel regret or guilt over past actions, it's important to understand that you are not your mistakes. You are not defined by the things you wish you could change. Instead, you are defined by how you choose to move forward, how you choose to learn from your past, and how you choose to take responsibility for your actions. When you own your story, you take control of your narrative. You stop letting your past dictate your future. Owning your story also means taking responsibility for the decisions you've made, whether they were good or bad. It means not blaming others for your circumstances, not pointing fingers or making excuses. When you own your story, you accept that you have played a role in every chapter, whether you like it or not. This doesn't mean taking all the blame for things that weren't your fault, but it does mean taking ownership of your choices and actions. You are responsible for how you react to life, for how you rise after setbacks, and for how you move forward when things don't go as planned. It's not about being perfect, it's about being honest and real. The beauty of owning your story is that it gives you the power to rewrite the parts that aren't serving you. If there are things in your life that you're not proud of, that's okay. The story isn't finished yet. You still have the opportunity to make changes, to shift your mindset, and to create new chapters. You can't change the past, but you can certainly shape the future. Owning your story doesn't mean accepting things as they are. It means acknowledging where you've been and deciding where you want to go from here. Every day is a new page in your book, and you get to decide how the next chapter will unfold. Owning your story also means letting go of the fear of judgment. So often, we hide parts of our lives because we're afraid of what others will think. We fear that if people knew the truth about us, they would reject us, criticize us, or think less of us. But the reality is that everyone has a story. Everyone has their own struggles, mistakes, and regrets. When you own your story, you free yourself from the burden of other people's opinions. You stop worrying about whether or not people will accept you. You stop letting shame dictate your actions. And instead, you start living authentically and unapologetically and with the courage to be exactly who you are. There is incredible power in authenticity. When you own your story, you stop pretending to be someone you're not. You stop hiding behind masks and facades. You stop trying to fit into a mold that wasn't made for you. Instead, you show up as your true self with all your imperfections, quirks, and flaws. And when you do that, something amazing happens. You give other people permission to do the same. You create an environment where honesty and vulnerability are valued, where people can be themselves without fear of judgment. You become a beacon for others to find their own courage and strength to own their stories. One of the greatest gifts you can give yourself is the ability to embrace your entire journey. The journey includes both the moments of brilliance and the moments of failure, the achievements and the setbacks, the love and the loss. They all make up the tapestry of your life, and without any one of those pieces, you wouldn't be who you are today. The path to greatness is rarely straight or easy. It's full of twists, turns, bumps, and obstacles. But it's those very struggles that give you the depth and resilience to face whatever comes your way. When you own your story, you understand that these challenges weren't obstacles to your success. They were stepping stones that led you exactly where you needed to be. Owning your story also means embracing vulnerability. Vulnerability isn't a weakness, it's a strength. It's the willingness to show up even when you don't have all the answers, even when you don't have it all together. It's the courage to speak your truth, to share your experiences, and to ask for help when you need it. Vulnerability is what connects us as human beings. It's what allows us to build meaningful relationships, to support one another, and to grow together. When you own your story, you embrace your vulnerability, and you allow it to be a source of strength rather than something to hide from. The final piece of owning your story is forgiveness, both of yourself and others. There are parts of your story that may be painful, things you wish you could undo or take back. But holding on to resentment or regret only keeps you trapped in the past. Forgiveness doesn't mean you forget or condone what happened, but it does mean you release the power that those events have over you. It's about freeing yourself from the chains of bitterness and moving forward with grace. When you forgive, you reclaim your power. You take ownership of your story in the most profound way possible. So here's the challenge: own your story, every part of it. Stop hiding the chapters you're ashamed of and start embracing them as the powerful lessons they are. Take responsibility for your actions and don't let anyone else define you. Embrace your imperfections, your flaws, and your failures because they are what make you uniquely you. And above all, remember that your story is still being written. You have the power to shape the next chapter, to take control of your narrative, and to live your life unapologetically, authentically, and fully. As we stand here today, I want you to think about this challenge, this invitation to disappear for 6 months, not as an escape, but as a beginning to rediscover the most important thing you'll ever know, who you truly are when everything else is stripped away. The world will try to define you. It will try to tell you who you should be, what you should chase, and how fast you should get there. But at the end of the day, the only person who knows what's best for you is you. The only path you need to follow is the one that aligns with your deepest purpose, not the expectations of others. 6 months. It may seem like a long time, but it's nothing in the grand scheme of a lifetime. It's an opportunity to trust the process, to embrace your failures, and to own your story. It's a chance to finally break free from the fear that holds you back and to step into the person you were always meant to be. To disappear for 6 months is to reclaim your life, to take a pause, and to come back with a clarity and strength that will propel you forward. So I dare you to disappear. I dare you to disappear from the noise, the distractions, and the pressures that are keeping you from truly living. I dare you to be bold enough to step into the unknown, to trust that the time you take yourself will change you in ways you can't yet imagine. And when you come back, and you'll be different. You'll be clearer, stronger, and more aligned with the person you were meant to become. Take this challenge seriously, not for me, but for you. Because the world doesn't need more of the same. It needs more of you, the true, unfiltered, unapologetic version of you. So go ahead, disappear. And when you come back, bring with you the power of self-truth, the courage to keep going, and the fire to show the world what you're truly capable of. You have everything within you. And it's time to let it shine